Alright, we're going to be changing the strings on this Gibson Les Paul. I got a broken E string over here and a broken E string over here, so I thought I might as well just change the whole thing. Now for this job you're going to need a fresh pack of strings. I'm going to be using Gibson Lights 10 gauge bright wires for this one, and we're going to need a winder to save us up some time, a pick or two, tuner, cable because it's an electric guitar, fretboard cleaner, a pencil, graphite pencil, and an airplane. So we're just going to start by winding down these strings. So we're just going to take our winder, put it on the tuner head, and start winding it in the direction that makes it loose. Do not wind them tight. So that string's loose. And there, I think that's good enough. Now, I'm just going to get rid of all these strings one at a time. Just going to pass that through our bridge. Get rid of this one. That one's down. G string's out, B string's out, and the dreaded little E string. So, just gonna pass these through our bridge. Good thing about Les Pauls is that you can actually take off the entire bridge and make your life a little easier. So I got rid of that. Okay, so the bridge is all clear. There's no string on our guitar whatsoever. Now, one thing is that now that your guitar is in this condition, this is a really good opportunity to clean your fretboard, because otherwise you kind of never ever get to do it. It's also really good to have like a rest for your neck, so that your guitar is not actually resting on the headstock. That's actually pretty bad for your neck. So we're just going to take our fretboard cleaner and a piece of cloth. We're just going to apply this material or this liquid all over. So there I got. So now I can just evenly apply it all over the neck. Right. So even with the string cleaner, you can see that you might be able to see in the video that there is still some residue that is built up near the frets. And for that, I just take like a very thin sized pick and I scrape it off. I can just get rid of all of that dead skin and whatever the hell that is. I actually don't know, but it's stuff that builds up over time. So this is probably the best opportunity you will get to clean your fretboard and make it as good as new. Guitar pick is fine, a piece of plastic is fine. Do not use a piece of metal, because metal is harder than wood and you are going to end up scratching your fretboard, and you do not want that. Now, the pencil. Right? The pencil is graphite, and this is what we're going to use to lubricate our nut so that our strings can glide through them easier without getting stuck in. So wherever you see these little insertions or cutaways for the strings, we're just going to put some pencil stuff, the graphite, on it, just to this helps keeps our string better in tune and lets the string actually pass through this nut with ease. So that's done. Now we can actually get to the stringing bed. So we got our fresh pack of strings. We're just gonna rip that open. So we're gonna go one string at a time, starting off with the 6th string. I like to string from bottom to up on the 6th string. So this is our E string, so we're just going to pass it through our bridge. Okay, then I'm going to take the 5th string or the A string, depending on whether you're in standard tuning or whatever it is, but we'll just call it the 5th string. Pass that through. 4th string. always insert the string through in the correct way. So anyways, this is good enough for now. When I do the strings on the other side, I'm going to turn the guitar around so that I have easier access to the winding part. So anyways, we're going to start off with the 6th string now. This is the most important part. You have to measure out 3 fingers. Okay, about 3 fingers. If you got chunky fingers, then maybe 2.5 fingers, but at this point where the 3rd finger shows up, I want you to make a bend over here, like a 90-degree bend over here, like that, maybe a little more, all right? And then, assuming the hole is already lined up in this direction, you're gonna pass that string through up till that bend. Okay, so we have a little bit of slack over here, and this slack is gonna get taken care of when we're winding down. Do not start winding all the way from here on a tight string. You need a little bit of space for the winding to happen. So we got this, and then we're gonna make a 2nd bend like that. Right, so we got the zigzag kind of thing going through our tuner head. So on the 6th string, actually, this is so significant, I can technically actually pick up the guitar in this, with this situation, which is kind of weird, but that's what it is. So we're gonna line up our string with its respective place on the nut and on the saddle. Right now it's gonna be difficult, but as we gain tension, we're just gonna make sure that the string stays on the saddle over here. I'm gonna take our trusty winder and I'm gonna start winding it counterclockwise from my perspective, and make sure that the string is winding down or below the hole and not upwards. So no rush, be patient with it. Apply a little bit of artificial tension if you need to with your hand, just to make sure the string is not getting trapped in the hex-shaped bolt over there. Right, and if you need to pry it up a little bit by force, that's where that pick comes in. Okay, just like that. Continue winding. Right, my E string or my 6th string is still on the saddle as I wanted it to be. And I can take care of the winding. So now, so we have a note, our string is in tension. It doesn't have to be an E string or an E note right now, we're just putting the strings on. Now at this point, it would be a good idea to actually put the cap back onto your string cleaner fluid. And now we're on to the A string, or the 5th string. So again, okay, line up the hole so that it's a little bit in that direction. Measure out 3 fingers, measure 3 fingers. All right, so now we're gonna work on the 3rd string, 2nd string, and 1st string. So I'm gonna turn this whole rig around. Put our neck rest or whatever it is, move our airplane out of the way in its respective slot. Keep it lined up with the saddle, keep it lined up with the nut. 3 fingers, no less, unless you got chunky fingers, but 3 fingers. So even with the G string, I am able to pick it up, but I'm not gonna mess with it too much. Again, counterclockwise, but I'm just gonna make sure it's winding such that the direction of the string is being inwards and not from the outside and going around the other frets, because that would be a huge mess. Pass it through the bridge, over the saddle, in its slot on the nut. 3 fingers. Never forget. Okay, same thing, hold it down, make sure the string is being wound down. Grab your trusty winder. And start winding downwards. So I'm just being really careful to not get any crisscross kind of windings on my string. And this gets particularly tricky when you start working with thinner strings and lighter gauges, because the strings tend to do their own thing and you just gotta keep them in check the whole time. And I got a ringing B string. Hear that? And now everyone's favorite string is the first string. This is like thinner than my own hair. Even for this string, 3 fingers. Okay, so even if you have a little bit of access string, it's okay because the string is thin and it will take up the space on the tuner head. Line up the hole. Right, I am not going to attempt picking the string up with the E string because the string is too thin, it's just gonna slide through. I'm gonna take our winder and I'm gonna start winding it in the same direction we've been winding every single thing so far, counterclockwise. And we got tension. Okay, so we have put all the strings onto our guitar. Now, here's what we're going to do. We are going to now hook up our tuner to our guitar. And I'm going to start tuning this guitar. So we're going to start off with our, I'm just going to turn this on, and we're going to start off with our E string. I'm just going to tune this in standard up to now. Make sure our knobs are all turned on so that we're actually registering notes. So this is registering an F sharp note, but the string is nowhere near playability tension. Okay, so we got our E note over here in tune. So now we're going to tune this all the way up to A. The next one is D. D is done. G. Now for the B. Now the dreaded E string. Okay, so we got our guitar in tune for now, but plot twist, the E string that we did in the beginning has gone flat, and it's going to continue to get flat, so we got to now give every single string a good stretching. So we're just going to grab the string and we're going to stretch it gently, but make sure you're stretching it and get all that tension, all that slack out of it, whatever, so that it does not relax, it stays in tension. So I've stretched it like this in different locations, and now you can see it's gone pretty loose, and now it's showing a G sharp note, nowhere near E. So we're going to repeat this stretching process for the A, B, D, G, B strings as well. This stretching thing is especially important. Please do it every single time. The last thing you want is to play a huge bend on one of your strings and then the next note is just going to be out of tune because the string has relaxed. So pre-stretch your strings every single time for better consistency and playability. Just stretching it, not pulling it way too far, yanking it out of the fret, out of the guitar, just keeping most of it near the fretboard, but still kind of stretching it in this direction, not really upwards. right? This is for those big bendy situations you gotta play. Okay, now we're just gonna go through this tuning exercise one more time, and then the rest of the tuning exercises you're gonna do before your playing session anyways, but for now, as a setup, let's get this over with. E, A, D, G, B, E. All right, now last but not least, we're just gonna get rid of those excessive long strings over here. I know some people like to leave them, they think it looks cool, but it's actually just a pretty big hazard. So some people actually use dedicated wire clippers for this. I'm just gonna use an old nail cutter. Don't use this for your nails ever again after this. Just keep it for this string stuff. So I'm just gonna go in here and be careful just to cut the access part off and not the string itself, because that would be a huge disaster. You don't have to be too close to it, but just close enough to make sure it doesn't actually poke someone's eyes out, even though that would be awesome. That's done. Avoid the actual string. So because of that 3-finger thing, you can see how we have exactly 1, 2, 3 wounds around this one, 1, 2, 3 wounds around this one. Everything is going down exactly the same way. Let's look over here on the G string, right? That's neat. The B string, very neat. And the thinnest string as well. There's no overlapping crisscross winding kind of situations. Everything is just one layer at a time. Hope you guys learned something. See you around next time.